In Defense of Christian was founded a little over 4 years ago, and the initial purpose of the organization was to bring together the Christian diaspora, the Middle Eastern Christian diaspora in the United States with Western Christians, and start advocating for Christians back in the Middle East who have been facing genocide in Iraq and Syria, discrimination across the region, not just the past 4 years, but for decades. We've accomplished a lot, both in Washington, D.C. on Capitol Hill and across the country. We've met with every single member of Congress at one point over the past 3 years. We have our staff that go and talk to members of Congress about pieces of legislation that directly impact Christianity and its survival across the Middle East. A perfect example of that is when we passed the Genocide Declaration a little over 1.5 years ago. We passed that Genocide Declaration. It was signed by former Secretary of State John Kerry after immense pressure from advocates that support and defense of Christians, as well as from other organizations that partner with us to get a resolution designation to protect the Christians and the Yazidis that were being killed by ISIS in Iraq and Syria, and to eventually bring justice to the people that were killed. We have chapters around the country. We initially started 3 years ago with just one chapter here in the Washington, D.C. area, and now we've grown to over 48 chapters across the country. We at IDC are laser focused on bringing justice to the families and victims of the genocide committed by ISIS in Iraq and Syria. There is legislation right now that passed unanimously in the House of Representatives and probably will pass very soon in the Senate that will bring immediate justice and relief to the victims of the genocide. And Lebanon. Lebanon is a country of a little over 4.5 million people. Right now, it is suffering from the crushing burden of hosting almost 2 million Syrian refugees from neighboring Syria that fled into Lebanon because of the civil war. Lebanon's economy is fragile. It cannot handle the influx of people that have come in from Syria. Its social fabric is being strained. Lebanon is one of the few remaining success stories we have in the Middle East of a thriving Christian community. There's a Christian president in Lebanon, so the Christian community is empowered politically in Lebanon, and we want to make sure that remains. And in order to do that, we have to work very hard to see a lot of these Syrian refugees go back to Syria in a safe way and be allowed to rebuild their lives following the civil war that is taking place there. I want to thank each and every one of you for your support. From the bottom of our hearts, of all of our staff here at IDC, we couldn't do any of this work without you generously donating and supporting our cause here at In Defense of Christians.